Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Time with Father once again. For those of you that don't know me yet, I'm Father James Torzala. I've been stationed here in St. Mary's since I was ordained about 3 years ago, and it's my great pleasure to be with you here this evening. So I'm once again here in the priest's library with the now more and more famous everyday head of St. Joseph. And I was actually chatting with St. Joseph before we went live here, and I was looking for advice. I was like, well, who better to ask than St. Joseph? So I said, St. Joseph, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. You have any advice? You have just give me maybe one thing that I should say to the people of St. Mary's. And he pondered and pondered and pondered, and then I realized, I was like, oh, never mind. He's probably not going to answer because he's just a head made of stone. But then, lo and behold, he answered. And he said to me, tell them this one thing. Whatever may be happening, however difficult this crisis, remember this one thing. Don't lose your head. Because he did, and he said life as a head is not what he thought it was going to be. I'm just kidding. He didn't say any of that, actually. I obviously made that up. But I was trying to chat with him, and yeah, he wasn't very responsive. But I mean, he's a great listener, though. I learned a lot about listening. He's a great listener, like I think every virtuous man probably is. So I learned some lessons there, and I bounced some of my jokes off of him, and I think I saw a little bit of a smirk kind of playing on his lips. So I think that's a good sign. Hopefully you'll like him too. So anyhow, I hope this conference doesn't go too long. I'm hoping for under the 20-minute mark. And I know all of you right now are probably looking down, or you probably already looked when you clicked on the video. You know, one of the things we always look at is how long is this thing going to be? You're probably right now thinking either, well done, Father, it's under 20 minutes, or you're like, ooh, Father, 20 minutes? Yeah, you were a bit off. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm under 20 minutes. I don't really know, though, right now, because, I mean, you're in the future. I'm in the past from where you are. And I don't know how long this is going to end up being, but you know now what I don't know. Hopefully it's under 20 minutes. What do I want to talk about? I want to talk about just some things I've been reading recently that I think are very interesting. And the ideas are kind of all there in my head of what I want to talk about. Not sure exactly how it's all going to come together. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of open my mouth and see what comes out. So, I mean, yeah, see how that goes. I'm actually excited. This should be great. But here goes nothing. So, these upcoming days of the Sacred Triduum and Easter week, they are the richest time of the whole liturgical year. That's something we're familiar with. We know that. And we have to realize that whatever may be happening in the world, God is still God. God is still God. And God is therefore still our Father. God is therefore still infinite love. God is therefore still mercy, pure mercy, infinite merciful love. A Father who absolutely wants what's best for us. And that doesn't change at all by any of the situations or circumstances in which we find ourselves, because of these things that are outside of our hands, outside of our control. Sometimes, you know, I mean, we do it. We start thinking that, you know, God had foreseen and planned this package of graces, wonderful graces that were based off of, you know, the parish of St. Mary's being able to attend public Holy Week ceremonies. And then COVID-19 comes swooping in and completely destroys that package, and now these graces are going everywhere, and the pieces are just everywhere, and the whole thing's in shambles, and God's sort of like frantically trying to pull everything back together and get a hold of things. No, that's not how God works, and We know that's not how God works, but sometimes that's what we think. It's kind of the way that we think without even realizing it. We have to realize that God is God. God is, as Father Reed said, beyond time. He's outside of time. He's in eternity. And he sees from eternity every single instance, every single moment of my life, of your life. Every single situation and circumstance in which we'll find ourselves. And he plans and prepares those graces specifically for our souls in these circumstances, however difficult they may be. And it's true to say, the more unique and special and different the circumstances, the more unique will be the graces. And so we have to realize that God is outside of time. It makes me think of my first joke, which is well planned for this opportunity. There was a man praying to God, and he said, God, what is 1,000,000 years to you? And God answered and said, as 1 second. The man said, wow. God, what is $1,000,000 to you? And God said, like 1 penny. So the man said, God, can I have a penny? And God said, yes, my son, absolutely. But just wait a second. Pause for laughter. Well, St. Joseph had liked it, so like I said, I hope you enjoyed it as well. If not, that's fine. I'll get over it. So anyhow, God is outside of time. He knows exactly what you're going through. He knows exactly what our families are suffering, what our parish is suffering. He knows better than we do exactly what graces we're in need of at this moment. And he's the one who is hand forming, so to speak, those graces for our soul. So we have to realize grace is still coming. God is still God. However, there's something about grace. Grace doesn't just magically, penetrate into our soul and take fruit. It doesn't happen like that. Grace is offered, and we must be disposed. We must want to receive it. We have to be ready for it. I think that one of the main factors or dispositions that will make us ready for that grace is that we have to want it. We have to desire it. We're not going to get anything if we don't want it. Especially something that's offered to us freely by God. Any gift that's given to us, unless we have a strong desire for it and we want to receive it, forget about it. We're just going to reject it, and we're going to be more interested in those things that we do want. So we have to want them. How do we kind of get ourselves to want them? That's the question. How do we get ourselves to desire these graces? And that's where I wanted to talk about this book that I'm reading. It talks about high performance habits. Basically what the book is about, it sounds boring, whatever, but what the book is about is what are the mindsets, the principles, the habits, the practices that people who perform at a very high level and have achieved excellence in their field, that they're constantly applying in order to continually achieve excellence and perform at a very high degree. So whatever the field, it could be sports, it could be business, it could be relationships, whatever the case might be. Whatever the field, there are the same kind of principles apply to everything. And one of those principles that I want to talk about with you tonight is what they call raising necessity. Raising necessity. What does that mean in this context? Well, in and of itself, it means to just be very, very aware of, to really make explicit acts of bringing to mind, to be conscious of all of the reasons why I must reach a goal that I've set for myself. And that goal in this context is benefiting deeply from all the graces of Holy Week. So what I'm recommending is that during this time, we have a lot of time on our hands. We have a lot of free time. And it's good to just sit down and think. And not to think about things that are going to disturb our peace of soul and cause us to become frustrated or angry or indignant or whatever it is. To sit down and think of all of the reasons that I need to benefit deeply from this torrent of graces that's coming these next weeks. I need to sit down and really think about all the people in my life that are in need of grace, that are in need of help. I sit down and think about the excellence I want to achieve in my state in life at every single level, every single aspect of it. So for me, for example, I'm a priest, and being a priest has many different facets or aspects to it. It means if I want to be a great priest, an excellent priest, a holy priest, then it means I must be a good confessor, a holy confessor, a patient confessor. I must be a devout preacher, inflamed with a great love for God, the faith of the Holy Mother of the Church, and with the ability to pass on and transmit that flame, that love of God to others. It means that I must be well prepared and devoutly offering Mass, doing my meditation, praying my breviary, praying my daily rosary, all these things. It means that I must be a good confrere towards my other fellow priests. I am also, besides being a priest, I'm also, I am a son towards my parents. I'm a brother to my siblings. I'm an uncle to my nieces and nephews. And I want to achieve excellence in all of those realms as well. So I just have to be very clear in my mind, very conscious, very aware of how I'm going to achieve that and how important that is for me to reach that goal, to achieve that excellence. And so how necessary and important it is for me to take advantage of all those means that I see are the way to achieve that goal. Raise that necessity, raise that sense of urgency, so that it's no longer a question of like, yeah, I should be a better priest, or like, yeah, it'd be kind of good if I was like a more diligent son or brother or uncle, or it'd be kind of good if I was, not, so impatient in the confessional or whatever. No more of this like, oh, I should, or I could, or it might be a good idea, or maybe I can do this. No, none of those things, just out the window. All that like, nonsense, just get rid of it, because it's not going to help you get anywhere. We have to have this strong sense of necessity. I must be a holy priest. Otherwise, what's the purpose of my priesthood? I must be a diligent and loving son and brother. Otherwise, why am I here? Why has God given me this one life with this one chance? And what am I doing with it if I'm not doing that? Raising that urgency. Realizing that Holy Week and the ceremonies and all the graces that are going to be offered, this is the most important time of my life for making strides in achieving excellence in those spheres, in all of those realms that I mentioned. So that goes it's the same way for a father of a family, or for a child, or for a teacher, or a student, whatever state in life you may find yourself in. You want to achieve excellence, be very clear in your mind about why it's important that you achieve excellence, and what are the steps that you need to take to reach that goal that you desire. Be very, very clear. Are there any noble sentiments within you of, I want to be a good teacher. I want to pass on the truth to my students. I want to form in them a great love for truth, for beauty, for goodness, a great love for God and for the faith. If there's any sentiments within you that want to be pure, then realize how important it is, if you ever want to really have a good, wholesome relationship with any other human being on the face of the earth, you must fight temptation. You must avoid the occasions of sin. You must conquer those fallen natural inclinations which pull us downward in a very excessive and extreme manner. It's a must. It's not just, yeah, it'd be good if I learned how to practice the virtue of purity. It'd be good if I learned how to be diligent in my duties as a teacher. It'd be kind of nice if I was like, a loving parent. Or no, again, just no more of this. Oh, it would kind of be good. It would kind of be good. No, those things won't help us. It's a must. It's a necessity. It's the reason why we're here. To love our God, to love those around us, to help others reach God as we ourselves are journeying closer to Him. That's why we're here. That's what we're all about. It's why God gave us this life. It's why God gave us existence. It's why He gives us every new breath of air that He does give to us every day for that one purpose. And if we're not doing that, we're kind of just missing the point of our life. So we have to raise that necessity. So I recommend that you sit down before these days come and just ask yourself, all right, I want to take advantage of, these live stream ceremonies, or I want to take advantage of, Tenebrae. I want to read through the prayers, the Psalms of Tenebrae. I want to read through the prayers of the liturgy, even if I can't attend it. If there's no public ceremonies, I still want to read through these. I want to read through the Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ. I want to pray my rosary more diligently on these days and just have a greater spirit of recollection to benefit from all these graces God is giving, and bring to mind just how important it is. Again, do you have any love for your spouse, any love for your children, any love for your parents, any desire to be that person in their life that they can trust, that they can go to, who will give them the help that they need, who will be that channel in God's hands through which grace is passed to others, this instrument that He can use for so much good in the world? Now is the time. Now is the acceptable time. The Sacred Triduum is the most perfect time for making huge strides in that direction. But again, we have to be clear. We have to be absolutely, explicitly conscious of the goal, of what we're striving for, of what we want, and of how we're going to get there, and of the steps that we need to start putting into practice. So that's my recommendation for these coming days of the Sacred Triduum. Be very clear in your mind what you want, what you're looking for in life. Hopefully it's something good. Hopefully it's something high. Hopefully it's something not just human, but really truly divine. And then hopefully you're aware of how to get there. And hopefully you realize that, like everything in life, any good, noble ideal we have, it's going to be reached through prayer. It's going to be reached through spirit of sacrifice. It's going to be reached through approaching as much as we can, as often as we have the opportunity, the sacraments. It's going to come through being diligent, knowing myself, avoiding occasions of sin, just taking advantage of all the natural means at the natural level that will help me to grow in the practice of virtue. And again, to make those very specific, very clear for all the different facets or realms or spheres of my daily duty of state. And then start doing it. And don't expect the transformation to take place like immediately. It's not like once I start trying to be a good priest or a good father or a good child, whatever it is, that when I come out, after I do my rosary well, I'm going to come out of it and just realize, wow, now the souls entrusted to me are just floating around like angels and they're all holy now. And no, it doesn't work that way. Or at least, like, if it does, maybe come talk to a priest, because there might be something wrong. But yeah, it's not going to work like that. They still have their free will. Our duty is just to love our God as much as we can, and then to be that instrument through which we can give as many opportunities as possible, as many chances, as many graces as possible to those around us. So I think I'm getting close to that 20-minute mark. I'd better close things here. Again, as all the priests have been saying, do know that we are praying for you. Absolutely. We still offer Mass every day, and I'm placing every single one of your souls there on the altar with Christ crucified every single day in my Mass. We care for you very, very much. We're praying for you. We're sacrificing for you. Have a good night, and God bless you all.